just sort of a centering song for me. I wrote it as sort of a prayer called Move Closer, or Move Closer, or Look, no, Move Slower, Look Closer. Whoa, 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 Try to concentrate on one thing, the eye of a needle, butterfly's wing, the fiber of paper, the weave of the cloth, a hummingbird's heart, the speed of a sloth. Go slower,
Gotta be for a long
go
time.
closer
Gotta be a little closer.
to the head of a pin, to the angels within. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Give yourself over to something green, the veins of a leaf, nature's machine. Fiddlehead firm as it starts to unfurl. Reach for the sky, see your place in this world, and go slower, move closer to the head of the pen and the angels within, because the world goes by so fast. Yeah, the world goes by so fast. Put yourself into the space between stone and the start of a diamond between muscle and bone, to the edge of beginning, just a moment before it gets set in motion and becomes so much more. And go slower, move closer to the head of a pen, to the angels within. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown. I'm Frankie Timmers, the spiritual director here, and that's Andrew Dunn. Oh, I closed my eyes and I just really felt it was such a perfect song for today, because today, I did this more often before, but it's Q&A days, which means that you get to ask any question about your spiritual journey, about metaphysics, and about spirituality. So there's a box with pieces of paper and pens and pencils. If you want to write down a question, I'll do my best to answer it. But the first ones I'm going to answer is the ones I got from 4 or 5 Facebook requests. It's only about 7 of them. So yeah, if people want them, if they need them. So that song was so perfect because it's really an invitation to be more curious and to be more interested. As I say, I have a gazillion questions every day. I'm always curious about everything. Maybe people aren't so curious anymore, but I'm always very curious. So if you have any questions, write them down. So Those of you that are joining us online, either today or anytime in the future, we're really glad you're with us, and together we are spiritual community. The one thing that I have discovered over the years is that people are hungry for spiritual community, and they are hungry for a spirituality that is simple, practical, commonsensical, and not filled with fear and anxiety and sin. So that's what we offer here at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. And if you're here for the first time, there's a bookshelf in the back, and you can pick a book and take whatever book you like to take with you. So we're going to start with our Namaste practice, which is the Sanskrit word for the divinity in me blesses the divinity in you. So put your hands together and just bow to somebody and say, Namaste.
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 She just found
And let's start with an opening treatment, our word for affirmative prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes and just imagine that it is your higher self, your inner self, your spirit, your soul whispering these words to you. And I'll speak it in the I am, which is our true name, the true name for each and every one of us. So right here, right now, I open my mind, my heart, my body, my soul to the absolute truth with a capital T at hand. It resides within me. It's forever available to me. And the more I become still, the more I come to know this truth. The more I am still, after the chatter subsides, I hear the voice of truth already within me. I can also call it the voice of peace, the voice of love, whatever it is that I need, I can begin to listen to this. I know it's usually very simple. It's so simple that my human mind might want to dismiss it. But today I'm learning to listen more deeply and to follow that inner guidance. The voice of love, the voice of truth, the voice of peace, the voice of compassion. As I move through the world, as I move as an individualized expression, individualized, unique expression of the one, and move through the world, knowing that I have a unique experience of this thing called life. So today I celebrate this. I celebrate our spiritual community. I celebrate wisdom teaching that is ancient and yet called new thought, that is available to me as I move through this thing called life. And I am grateful then, so grateful for so much that blesses me in my life. And so it is. So we have a suggestion box, and I think maybe people don't even know it's there because I forget to check, and when I checked, it's empty. So the other day I went over to the box, and there was 3 questions in there. I was like, yes, questions. Ooh, let's do a Q&A. So I have a few questions that I'm going to answer for those of you that shared. And if more are coming, just send them forward to Lori, and she'll hand them to me. So the first one I found, I really love. It says, what does Science Mind or Ernest Holmes say about gossip? How many of you love gossip? 1 person, 2 people. How many of you do gossip? All of us, to some degree, right? So it depends then on what is the definition of gossip. I love the definition that Don Miguel Ruiz gives in the 4 Agreements. He calls it poison. But to me, it's only poison when it is harmful, when it is hurtful, when it is negative, as some people say. The way that I define gossip is if I speak about somebody and when they're not in the room, and I wouldn't say those things when they are in the room.
Good definition.
And so it has taught me to be more direct and be more honest and zip it when I'm around others. But isn't it fun how sometimes it's like, ooh, when I was younger, if I had juicy gossip, I would tell it to everybody because I felt it would make me more powerful. It felt like it made me more important. it felt like I would maybe be in their good graces, which often does the opposite, right? When you're around a person who gossips, you probably won't tell them secrets or personal things. So Ernest Holmes, I haven't found anything he says about gossip. Science of Mind, I haven't found anything it says about gossip, but I would say that this would be the answer. That we get to be more impeccable with our word and really think about what we say, how we say it, and about whom we say it. And more important than that, that when we find ourselves caught in gossip, giving or receiving, that we do our inner work. First of all, that we don't give it. And second of all, if we receive it, that we speak up. That we say something kindly and thoughtfully and compassionately. This one asks about spiritual bypass. What is spiritual bypass? We hear that a lot right now. Spiritual bypass is when you don't want to do your inner work. So for example, let's say you're sick and all you're doing is affirmations. I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. There's nothing bad about that because this works for some people. But it is this idea that if something isn't working in my life and I'm not exploring it, then I'm bypassing. So I broke my toe a few weeks ago, or the day before Thanksgiving. I think it's broken. It's pretty obvious it's broken. And so I've been sitting with that. And I've been looking in, I have 5 different books that have metaphysical interpretations that I love. So I read that and I look at that and I think about it, and it's been really interesting to ask my toe what it's trying to tell me. What is its message? And what is it inviting me to do? And I'm not going to share all the details. But what I can tell you is that the invitation was to move a little slower and to be a little bit more mindful. And isn't that a message we get all the time, right? And so the invitation is to use the things that we are experiencing in life and relate them back to our personal consciousness. To not blame anyone else, which is another way of spiritual bypassing. And to skip that part of saying, my consciousness creates my experience, let me take a closer look and see what the invitation is. What usually happens is we feel fear, shame, or anxiety around this. So what we want to do is we want to just let that go and just get curious. I'm interested, I'm curious, let me explore this. What a fun adventure. So it's to embrace it. And then it also says how to talk about negative things without avoiding them out of fear or affirming them. Like problems with relationships or talking about sickness and disease. This is something I find really, really interesting. Because for me, like when I went through this cancer experience a few years ago, I really thought about it. I thought about, how do I communicate this? When do I communicate this? To who do I communicate this? And you never ever heard me say, I have cancer. Never. It's I'm experiencing it, or I'm experiencing a health challenge, or I'm having an invitation through a health challenge, because I wanted to get curious. I wanted to learn. I wanted to know. I was really interested, and as many of you know, because I've talked about it before, the breast cancer was right here over my heart. Do you think that's telling? Yes. So I listened to my heart. What's cancerous in my heart I need to release? What is this showing me about opening my heart? And doing that then creates a very powerful healing experience, rather than fear or speaking about it in a way that doesn't serve us. So it means that we have to think about how do we speak about something that's difficult without lying or without withholding or without not revealing it. It just requires thought, because the beauty is we have the language. It's already within us. Friendship, dealing with friendship when people seem to move on or seem to forget a closeness once shared. Friends one has supported in poignant ways, they move on, and there can be a feeling of loss or replacement. So this is something I've thought about a lot. I'm trying to see how I want to say it. I always try to figure out what is happening when friends change. And what I've learned is I have no idea. And I may never know. Even if I have the conversation with them, I still may not know. I prefer if somebody says to me, you know, you're not really a good friend anymore, I'm out of here. I'm fine with that. I know now that the people that I'm really close friends with, and there was just a few, those friendships never die, but they change. I have a dear friend that went through a lot of changes in their lives with marriages and kids and careers and moving. And the friendship, of course, changed, but it's still there. So it's then trusting and allowing for friendships to change, and at the same time asking ourselves, what do I need to do to cultivate friendships? What's important to me, and how do I communicate that? Relationships are difficult. Anybody here think relationships are a breeze, easy breezy? No. Because they confront us with what?
Ourselves.
Our own consciousness, ourselves. And so they invite us to look inside, and then at the same time to have the courage to communicate what we're feeling, what we're thinking, and what we need. But I have found that whenever I've gone through a challenge or a crisis, I have found out who my real friends are. And I've learned to let go of the ones that don't bring the same balance to the friendship that I tend to bring. Because I'm a really good friend. I'm a really good friend. I know how to do friendship. And so at this point, it's like, you don't want to be my friend? It's your loss. I'll then give that energy to the friends that I do have. So just a little aside. I don't want to shock anyone. I want you to notice that what you're feeling is what you're feeling. You are not my friends. You are not my friends. I'm your minister. I'm here for your spiritual life. You want me as your minister and not your friend. So a few years ago, somebody was deeply disappointed when they said, what do you mean I'm not your friend? And I had to have that conversation. Having me as your minister is, for 3 more months, is so much richer than having me as your friend, because I don't have that much time and energy for friends, for 50 friends, right? And so as your minister, I want to just let you know that I think all of us need a spiritual guide. I have a few. That's somebody that's a little bit, maybe like a half a step ahead of us, so that they can keep us on our toes, so they can remind us of what's important, so they can see where we go off the beaten path, where somebody is then willing to work with you and talk to you from that place of spiritual wisdom and spiritual truth. I'm not saying I'm the wisest person on the planet, because I'm not, and I stumble and fall all the time, but I have been doing this for 40 years. And I've learned a few things, and I'm really good at working with people. So there it is, right? And so that doesn't mean that I love any less. I love just as much, because there's so much love to go around. It's infinite, right? So this one I'm going to save because I want to refer to the magazine. How do I practice the teaching when I'm in a crisis? I love this question. What I have discovered in myself and in others is that when a crisis hits, it's almost like everything we've learned spiritually goes out the window. Like, what is that? I was sharing that with somebody the other day that was struggling. I said, you know what? You have been in this teaching for how long? 20, 30 years? That's for this. That's for now. It took me a while when I was diagnosed to realize that, but I thought, oh, wait a minute. I have learned a few things. I've done a few treatments. I've had a few prayer partners. I've studied a few classes. I've read a few books. All that is for this. So what happens is the ego mind forgets all that, because the ego mind wants to fix it from the outside in. But the spiritual mind, the true mind, already everything you've ever learned, every treatment you've ever done, every class you've ever taken, every wisdom you've ever heard on YouTube or a podcast is there for you when things get hard. And so we reach for that which is already there. Not to mention that everything we need, this is a metaphysical spiritual truth, everything we need is already where?
Within us.
It's within us. So it means that we slow down, as Andrew's song said, we become quiet and we listen for that voice of wisdom that is already within. But we don't want to sit and listen because we don't like to get quiet. We're so distracted, as my spiritual teacher says, one of them, that weapons of mass distraction are everywhere. But when we get quiet and we sit still, we listen for that wisdom. And again, it's often so simple that we just dismiss it until we get whacked in the head again. And then we're forced, right? I remember a time when I was in this teaching early on. I had 3 car accidents in a row, 6 months apart, and each time I had whiplash. The third one, I couldn't move. I had to lie on a couch. I was forced to not do anything. And finally, I got it. And did my treatment work, reached out to my teacher, my practitioners. It was an interesting time. Let me just tell you that. Though, by the way, none of those accidents were my fault. It's funny when we think that way, right? It was like, but there was something going on, right? Ernest Holmes says, to desert the truth in the hour of need means to prove you don't know the truth. And the beauty is you do. Even if you've never taken a class, you've never listened to a spiritual teacher, speaker, podcast, YouTube, it's already within you. It's that common sense wisdom. Oh, this one I did already. Okay, done. This is in a follow-up of, we're doing a 28 days of forgiveness. If anybody wants to join that, the flyer is over there. And I did one the other day, and I talked about how I have a very different approach to forgiveness. I don't believe, that's just my opinion, may not work, may not be true, but it works for me. You don't have to work on forgiveness. Forgiveness is an effect. It's not an action. When you have something you feel you need to forgive, deal with the feelings of that. Deal with the feelings of the hurt, the feelings of the betrayal. Have compassion for yourself. Forgive yourself. And then forgiveness of the other is the natural outcome. And to me, that's the most powerful way to go about forgiveness. And I know from experience, I tried to forgive a teacher who abused me for 2 decades until I realized I had to deal with the feelings of what happened. When I dealt with the feelings of what happened, and I screamed and yelled and cried in front of a therapist, all of a sudden, my forgiveness and my compassion for him just washed over me. And it's still with me today. I can see his face in my mind, and my heart goes out to him. It's a very powerful process. Why meditate? It's hard for me. Great excuse. Great excuse. Keep it up. Keep saying it's hard for you. Keep saying, bless you. Keep saying you can't do it. Keep saying that you don't have the oomph for it. That you can't sit still. Keep saying it. You will continue to suffer because you're disconnected from yourself. I I know all the excuses, all of them. I've experienced all of them. Find a way that works for you, because there are as many ways to meditate as there are people on the planet. For you, it might not be sitting cross-legged on a pillow. For you, it might not be walking meditation. For you, it might not be chanting. Find a way and just do that. Meditation means you're sitting, you're closing your eyes, and you're watching your breath. That's it. That's meditation. And then you watch what gets in the way. Aches and pains, thoughts and feelings, tasks to do, memories, and you just stay. You continue to sit and watch your mind and breathe. That's it. As most of you know, I've been volunteering for 15 years at the Morris County Correction Facility, where I teach meditation to the inmates. In my own mind, I call them my jailbirds. I've never said that to them. Gossip, you little gossiper. And to just see the excuses and to notice how incredibly hard it is for them. One group are the opioid addicted, so they're dealing with withdrawal like crazy. But the ones that are doing it and they're sharing with everybody, including myself, that they're noticing results is mind-boggling. It's so powerful. One time, I just remembered him. He was just precious. That was when I used to go in person. One inmate who had just been sentenced to 50 years in prison. Just the day before, he meditated, and he said to me, when we were done, because I do different practices, he says, Frankie, my soul was talking to me and smiling at me. And it was saying that I'm going to be okay. So anyway, I got one that I want to close with, but here's a few. No personal questions. We'll save them for next month. We all think about heaven as the place we see our loved ones after death. What about ex-wives? They go to hell.
That was mine.
Are you with your new wife in heaven, or your ex, or both, or is heaven bigger than that? Heaven is bigger than that.
Okay.
Now, let me just say that in our teaching, we say heaven and hell are not a place you go to after you die. Heaven and hell are states of mind. So if I am in a state of mind that is judgmental or fear-based or anger-based about an ex or anyone, then we're in a state of hell. But the moment we can let go and forgive them, remember the practice I just talked about, then we're in heaven. How do you get past fear? You don't. You don't. Fear is a human emotion. If I'm being chased by a bear, you bet that fear is going to make me run faster than love. Hi, bear! So happy to see you. I love you so much. No, I'm going to run like hell. And I know what to do to be able to be a fast runner. It's why I exercise. Because when I need it, I'm ready to go, right? Or if he's got me, I'll say, just take me. I'm ready. Right? So fear is actually a whisperer. Fear is a messenger. It's a very powerful messenger. It's very important to listen to what fear has to say. I love Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, where she talks about how fear gets to be in the car, but it doesn't get to drive and it doesn't get to pick the music. It gets to sit in the back seat. So it's being willing to listen to fear, and it has guidance for you. It has a message for you. It has something to tell you and something to teach you. So as long as you judge fear and you fight it and you hate it, it's going to be knocking at your door. The moment that you say, all right, hi, my friend, what is it that you want me to know? What is that I need to know? Fear, anxiety, worry is a part of my everyday. It's a part of my everyday, but it's not in charge. It's a guide, and as long as we are in this human experience, those are feelings that we're going to have. And the more okay we are with the whole range of feelings, and they say there's about 300 of them, the more healthy we are emotionally. So I want to close with this one, because the Science of Mind magazine finally came in. And it's November and December's magazine, and it came this week. They're having some challenges at home office with the magazine. And some of you might say, buy a Science of Mind magazine on December 8th, and the last day is December 31, and I say yes, because the articles in both magazines are priceless. Priceless. There is a powerful interview with Jean Houston, who's one of my teachers, because she is Centers for Spiritual Living's Hero of the Year. And so I'm going to start with the question, and I'm going to go to the magazine and the interview. I'm so tired of my old story. It's a sad one. How can I tell a new story without lying? Kind of the earlier question, right? I want to start by saying, pay attention to the story you tell. And then see if you can tell the same story in a different way. To tell it not from a place of fear or anxiety or judgment, but to tell it from a place of hope, learning, and growing. So I can say my 5th grade teacher sexually molested me, and I've been suffering all my life. I have problems with relationships, blah, blah, blah. I can give all that, right? Or I can say something happened to me in 5th grade with a teacher that wasn't okay, and I've learned to heal that, to grow, to accept it, to forgive, to have acceptance. So the story is still that story, but the way that I live with that story and approach that story has completely changed. You with me? Right? Requires us to kind of think about, how do I tell my story? Because I know many people are so attached to their victim stories. Just look at Facebook, my God. They will tell you how attached people are to their stories, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just very interesting, because for me, Facebook is a spiritual practice. So in the article, there's a few things that talk about telling that new story. It starts by where she talks about having met Albert Einstein. She also met Teilhard de Chardin. She has some interesting stories about her past. And she said that she was on a field trip in Princeton University. And Einstein said, everybody thinks I'm so smart. Einstein told her class, I'm not so smart. I have great imagination. I have great imagination. See the difference? That's when the 7-year-old Houston realized the Nobel Prize-winning physicist had given them the secret to a deeper life, to a fuller purpose, and to a larger reality. I took that as my calling card, if you will, for what I would do with the rest of my life, Houston says. We become incredibly empowered and structured with multiple levels of being, knowing, understanding, and creating. She was called to delve into the realms of human potential and share her findings with others. She says the key to exploring our potential is not just in books or classes. It's what we do with this vast creative potency that has been planted in us of imagination, of telling a new story over and over again. There's an unfolding richness of imagination that is always there. It's the universe in us prompting us. So when we listen to our imagination and we get curious, we begin to hear, or we begin to ask, how can I tell this story differently in a way that's maybe a little more interesting, or imaginative, or reflects the truth that is already within me? She goes on saying, Houston says, when you know yourself as the universe, an innovative, highly creative process, you gain a larger sense of your role and your destiny. She invites us each to consider ourselves the tellers of a new story. So even collectively, with everything that's been happening in the world, especially American politics, how can we tell a different story, a new story? A story that reflects your true nature, your spirituality, your spiritual practices, your spiritual life. She says for her, science of mind, is who we are, is one of the few philosophies, this is Jane Houston speaking. By the way, she wrote the introduction to the Science of Mind textbook, the latest version, which is old now. For her, science of mind is one of the few philosophies that understand the magnitude of this shift in humanity. Go, G. They are finding profoundly new ways of thinking and being that allow parts of ourselves that have been relatively unused for thousands of years to begin to come back to the surface. And the last little piece. This is a radical awakening of the role of consciousness as the underlying organizing principle of the universe. There's an evolutionary impulse, a new version of humanity seeking to be revealed. How can we be a bridge to the future? Continuously ask questions and seek truth, she advises. Keep asking questions. Keep seeking the truth. Keep being curious. So interesting. She believes the universe has a mind of its own and loves to enter into relationship with us as we seek deeper answers. Just by asking, you're ready to explore. You're signaling your willingness to respond to the evolutionary principle. Each of you, dear friends, she says, serves as a catalyst of change and a pathfinder of deeper realities. When you both understand and feel this reality gets into your bones. It flows like the sea in your blood. It is the biggest paradigm shift of all. It changes everything inside of you, and it reignites your pilot light. Isn't that powerful? Well, buy the magazine, you can read it yourself. Any last questions? Okay, let's have Andrew sing for us. Andrew.
Okay. So, I get, well, it's really changed now. A lot of people now. I have the joy of getting married again in 22 days. And you were talking about the teachers that you have that are like a half step ahead of you or so.
Mm-hmm.
And Angela and I, there's an 11-year difference. So I'm older, and I've sort of been through some of the stuff she's going through now. So it's very interesting and sometimes hard to watch. I know you've all probably been in that situation where you're watching somebody you care about go through something hard.
Mm-hmm.
So this fella. up from below. I know it's hard for you somehow. Just let me be here for you. Be here for you now. I know you're strong, I know you're proud, I know it's okay to let me in, to learn to trust again, ask for help out loud. I know it's hard for you somehow. Just let me be here for you. Be here for you now. Here for you now. Oh, sure. Sure. Let me see, what am I in here? Okay.
So I sent this text to Andrew earlier, so I'm going to read it from my phone. Oh, thank you, Mark. Mark just texted me. He says, "Wow, truly amazing and inspiring talk today." Thanks, Frankie. All right, so Andrew, I just sent it to you, didn't I?
I don't know. My phone is on silent, so.
Huh.
What you intended to send to me
It
was.
disappeared. Okay, so let me see. So one of the poems that I really love,
Oh, good, you did, okay.
I even have it in a necklace, and I know I've read it here before, but it's Rainier Maria Rilke. And it's such a powerful poem. I'm going to use that to do a little bit of a guided meditation with us. But let me start with the poem. A says, "Be patient toward all that is unresolved in your heart." Be patient with all that is unresolved in your heart. And try to love the questions themselves. Try to love the questions themselves. Like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live with them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. So I invite you to close your eyes. And just take a nice, slow, deep breath as you do this, which is so interesting because usually when we close our eyes, we naturally take that deep breath to settle into our bodies, to just quiet our mind a little bit, to kind of put all the things that are on our heart and in our mind aside and just be. And isn't that what's asked of us spiritually? To just be. And to allow whatever comes and goes and goes and comes to be as well. So take a look into your heart and know that it is filled and surrounded by infinite compassion right now. That's your real capital R-E-A-L heart space. And just for a moment, look inside your heart and see what is unresolved. course, without judging it, just see what is unresolved in that pool of compassion in your heart. And just allow it. Not needing to fix it or try to fix it or try to understand or try to get back at so-and-so or this or that. Just be with that. And let yourself feel what is unresolved in your heart. Maybe it will stay unresolved forever. Maybe not. And just be willing to be at peace with that. I know this may not be easy, but because your heart is surrounded by compassion, it's a little easier. And now trust that there is a treasure in there somehow. And that you're willing to go for the treasure. Whether it shows itself or not. And to leave the unresolved alone. Some of you might not have anything. If that is so, just celebrate and feel the blessing of that. And now slowly, slowly and gently bring your attention back into your body, into the room. When you're ready, open your eyes. So one of the things that I meet in people around this time of year is a sense of unresolvedness around the holidays. So lucky you, I'm teaching a little workshop or facilitating a little workshop next Sunday from 1 to 2:30. And we're going to have fun. It's going to be lighthearted. So that if you have something unresolved around the holidays, you can experience a shift. So that it becomes a holiday that's more peaceful, more magical, more easy for you. So that's at 12:30. It's called Holiday Blues and Reds and Greens. And it's on a love offering basis. So whatever that means to you. Today is the last day we are collecting holiday gifts for the Morris County Correction Facility where I teach meditation. So we've had Sharon, Cheston, and Jean be so kind to make the gift bags tomorrow. So the box with stuff is going out the door today, and it's anybody else wants to put gift bags together, it's tomorrow morning and from 9 o'clock to 3 p.m. at Calvary Baptist. If anybody wants to know more about that, I'm happy to tell you. And we have the World Healing Meditation, which we've been doing for over 30 years. It's been going on for almost 40. It's at 7 p.m. here, 7 a.m. here. Thank God we're not in California. I would be at 4. And it's the whole billions of people all over the planet are meditating for world peace. So we meet from 7 to 8 here. It's on a Tuesday morning, and you're all welcome to come. The flyer's over there. And then there's also a flyer for our next concert. Yeah. So please take a look at that. I was just asked by Reverend Nicolette, who's the pastor here at Brookside Community Church, if we would like to come to a special celebration they are having with their choir and with a string quartet, and it's 2 weeks from today. So 2 weeks from today, we're not having a celebration in here. We're all going to be over there, and it's going to be a special musical celebration of the heroes of Christmas. And they call the heroes of Christmas the rule breakers and the risk takers, which I know we all love that. So that's going to be on the 22nd. We're not going to be in here. We're going to be in there. So come and join us. 11 o'clock, just like this. They're changing it to 11, which is, she reached out because it will be a parking thing, but we're all going to go over there. So I'll announce it again next week. And yes, Lori has offered to do spiritual mind treatment for anybody after celebration. We call that Treatment Express. If you're new, it just means that she's doing like a quick, easy little prayer for you. If you want more, you reach out to any of our practitioners. The list is over there, and set up a session with them. And now, we know that we are incredibly grateful for each of you, because if it wasn't for each of you, we would not be here. And you're all incredibly generous, each of you in your own way. If you'd like to make a donation today, you may. A basket is going around. If you give in any other way, any other form, just bless the basket when it comes by, and I'm just going to pass it on and have you pass it on. Let's do an affirmation together. So repeat after me. Today I'm deeply grateful for all the good that is in my life, for spiritual friends, other friends, family, a spiritual teaching, and all the blessings yet to come. And so it is. So let's have you do another, let me do a closing treatment first, and then I'll have you do another song.
Okay.
Yes, so let's know this. I love that I forget what I'm doing after 40 years. 35, whatever. So here we are, together in a circle of love, a circle of hope, a circle of faith, a circle of always being willing to learn something new, to grow, and to tell a new story. So each of us today can really bring this infinite ocean of compassion we have for ourselves and for each other on this human journey that is filled with joys, but also filled with sorrows. It's just the nature of being in this human experience. But today we've learned that we don't have to fear any of it. We don't have to feel unworthy for any of it. We can simply be in the presence and get to know ourselves in deeper yet deeper ways. And then to explore this infinite wisdom that is already within us, to bring it to life. Each of us in such a unique way. And so today we revel at human persistence and human resilience, and the beauty of our evolution, our growth, transformation, and healing that is ever possible. We hold this not just for ourselves and each other, but we hold this for all of humanity, for all the animals, for all of nature, for all of the earth, for all of life. And that's our contribution, to hold the hope for what is possible. And so today we're just filled and overflowing with gratitude. That becomes our next breath and our next heartbeat, and so it is. So it is.
So I'm going to do something. Excuse me a second. Did you know that you can get Google to flip a coin for you?
No.
Yes. Oh, Google. Flip a coin.
So you're flipping a coin for what song to play?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, good, because I kind of wanted to do this anyway. But, well, you know, sometimes I tell my daughters, flipping a coin is a great way to decide what you already want. Because, you know, if you flip the coin and it comes up on the one you don't want, you go like, oh, man, I'm like, oh, listen to that, you know. So I don't want you to think I'm just a one-trick pony, writes quiet songs all the time. I don't. This was a song about sticking it to the man.
Yes.
Although the man, in this case, is kind of me anyway, because I'm my own boss. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's just, it's in this tune. It's called Think Twice. Handing out stuff to throw at me or what? I wake up with water in my face, head outside to join the big rat race. I work hard to earn a dollar that I give to someone else. It's what they call a living wage. I think we're on a different page. I think they're thinking one thing while I'm thinking something else. But I'm starting to think twice, yeah, 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 yeah. These are things you're gonna throw in your song. With as much as I've been putting in, it's getting underneath my skin. Yeah, it's driving me mad and weighing heavy on my mind. I'm waking up each day with dread. I fear I'll never get ahead. And with everything I give, I'm leaving something else behind. I know every dream has got a price, but I'm starting to think twice, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I believe I have much more to give. I believe this is no way to live. I believe that I should end this now so I can live to see the end. 'Cause in the end, all that matters is your truth. And it's not about what? It's not about rejection. I'm not afraid to pay my dues. I don't want to give my all to you and still stand in your line. I'm fine with living hand to mouth, but the mouth should be all mine. The mouth should be all mine. Be all mine. I know every dream has got a price, but I'm starting to think twice. All I want to do is right. I wake up with water in my face, head outside to join the big rat race. I work hard to earn a dollar that I give to someone else. I work hard to earn a dollar that I give to someone else. I work too hard to earn a dollar just to give to someone else. Thank you very much.
Two things. One has to stay on the live stream and one doesn't. I forgot one really important question that one of you sent. And I want to answer it because I think it's really important. The question was, how do you tell other people about this teaching? How do you explain it to people? Which I think it's very easy to get tongue-tied when somebody asks. So what I always say, and I've been saying since the beginning of time, is tell people how you feel. How do you feel when you come here? How do you feel when you're with this group of people? How do you feel when you study the teaching, when you read? What does it mean to you? So share from a very personal place. And then there's a very famous quote by Ernest Holmes that goes, "There is a power for good in the universe
You can use it.
greater than you are, and you can use it." Find a way to say that in your own words. What does that mean to you? It may require that you sit still and say, power greater than I am. How can I put that in my own words? Because if you don't put it in your own words, you sound preachy and it turns people off. But when you speak from your heart, it's very powerful. So, I forgot that question. I don't know what happened to it. That's it. Have a great day, everybody.